All right, let's see if that worked. Can you see and hear me, chat? Let me know. Audio and video. Thank you, Lenina. Excellent. I appreciate that confirmation. Fantastic. Well, everybody. Welcome back to Paleontologizing. Welcome back to Eastern Utah. Welcome back to a live dinosaur dig in the early Cretaceous Cedar Mountain Formation. It's going to be a good stream today. Not only are we going to be excavating some ankylosaur bones, but walking around and talking to the other paleontologists and students and volunteers. We're also going to be interviewing a Price Museum, or Prehistoric Museum at Price, Utah, curator Josh Lively about marine reptiles today. Marine reptiles are part of the reason why I'm actually leaving early from this field season. This is our second to last stream out here in the field. Tomorrow's our last day of streaming, at least. And I'll be back home in the San Francisco Bay Area a couple days after that. It's going to be a long drive, but looking forward to it. It's going to be bittersweet leaving here, but yeah, anyhow. If you're just tuning in, if this is your very first time watching, welcome. My name is Lisa. I'm a dinosaur paleontologist. I'm here on Twitch trying to do some good old-fashioned science outreach. So, oftentimes most of the year, I'm back in my office streaming from there. You know, going over new scientific papers, talking about fossil science, doing a lot of questions and answers with the chat, occasionally interviewing other paleontologists remotely, doing a ton of 3D printing, some digital art, just all kinds of stuff like that, trying to do my best to give you an inside peek into how paleontology works. What is fossil science all about? Why is it important? Why should you care about it? Why is it relevant to your life? And why is it so cool, you know? Believe it or not, this is my full-time job, is live streaming like this. I'm able to combine my my outreach and making my living. This is how I fund my research, my field work, travel, all kinds of stuff like that. And I'm doing my best to help out other people in my field as well. So, yeah, and welcome to Paleontologizing. See what we got here in the chat. And it's hot today. It's definitely hotter than 79 degrees where I am right now. But we'll take a look. And hey, Murph, how are you doing? Hello. Claire Burr, Wombat Hole, Paolo. Nina, how's everybody doing? It's great to have you here. Yeah, shoot. I'm glad that we haven't had any technical hiccups or anything so far. Streaming live from the middle of nowhere out in the Utah desert certainly invites technical difficulties, and we've been, I'd say, blessedly free of those for the most part while we're out here. I'm streaming live to you via satellite. So there's the dish right there. These are solar panels and solar battery. And yeah. It's the sort of thing you got to do to be able to broadcast live from a remote place like this. We're out here in Eastern Utah. And again, as we get more people in, I'm sure I'll repeat this, but Colorado is not too far that way. About an hour's drive, maybe less. That is Arches National Park right there on the eastern horizon. If you get a pair of good binoculars, you can actually see some arches on the horizon there. Some, sandstone formations that are, archways. Really cool. So Skyline Arch is just there. White, see it where we got to go a little bit this way. It's behind that hill. But yeah. And it has been pretty good this dig. Yeah, for the most part, I think. And how long would it... That might take I don't know. Probably 5 or 6 hours, I would imagine. I'm not sure. I'm not totally clear on exactly how far that is, or there might even be a big valley in between that I can't quite see from this perspective. I've never been to Arches National Park. This is my fourth or fifth year doing fieldwork out here in Eastern Utah. We spent a full 3 weeks just over yonder that way, about 5 miles, earlier this year, from mid-July to early August. And I'm back out here. I've been here for the past week and a bit. Got here on the 19th. It's the 27th today, so 8 days ago. Yeah. And then I'll be taking off on Monday morning. Good stuff. Yeah. And there you go, Claire. Yeah, exactly, right? And do you know when the interview with Josh will begin? I told him 3 o'clock, so that's in like 45 minutes. So we'll do that. He's over there listening to the Auburn football game right now, rooting for his college team. So I guess we'll interrupt that in a bit. Sorry, Josh, but I'm looking forward to talking to him about marine reptiles. Josh actually works on mosasaurs. That's one of his specialties. Mosasaurs. Going lizards from the Cretaceous period. So when dinosaurs were doing their thing on land, toward the end of their reign, we've got mosasaurs from Europe, from North America, from, I think, South America, from as far south as Antarctica, I think. We've got them from Asia, and I don't know if we have them from Australia yet. Doesn't mean they didn't live there, but I just don't know if we have the right age rocks to have mosasaurs from Australia. Australia is kind of interesting geologically, and there's some big gaps in the record there. But, yeah, and Paleosaur says I'll do my best to be there. Nice. Yeah, it should be fun. Yeah. We'll be looking through some books, probably drawing on a whiteboard and just chatting away about marine reptiles. Marine reptiles are an interesting thing because they're not a group, you know? They're not what we call a clade, an evolutionary family, like a group that's all descended from a common ancestor. There's lots of different lines of marine reptile that all diverge and evolve in interesting, weird ways. And, yeah, so that includes everything from mosasaurs, which are kind of lizard, to, you know what, let me show you on a diagram over here. It'll tell, you know. Let's see. Where is that one? Ah, beautiful. So the thing to be aware is that no marine reptiles are dinosaurs, unless you count birds, I guess. Dinosaurs begin here on this family tree, but different kinds of marine reptile. We have ichthyosaurs, and I think it's a Hupasuchian or something. We get marine lizards like the mosasaurs, who are close to things like Komodo dragons. We get marine crocs, so crocodilomorphs, the relatives of modern-day crocs and gators and stuff. These guys, some of them went into the oceans, developed fishy tails like this. They lost their armor plates, and they became streamlined, ocean-going predators who probably even gave birth to live young. So we onto land to lay eggs. We think they're probably giving birth to live young in the water. And then, of course, both long-necked and short-necked, things like nothosaurs, and we have our turtles as well. Sea turtles are some of the only surviving marine reptiles. All these other guys lived during the Mesozoic, and they went extinct at various points. Many of them went extinct at the same time that the non-bird dinosaurs did, when the asteroid hit 66 million years ago. There's one kind of marine croc, I think, that survived. It's like a dinosaur. And then, apart from that, sea turtles are the only other marine reptile that survived that extinction event. And, yeah. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. I'm hesitant to talk about it because it's almost like superstitious. I don't want to jinx it. But if everything falls into place just perfectly, I might have a chance to go work with leatherback turtles next week, from Wednesday through maybe Friday, provided that a few things go exactly perfectly. Good weather and, well, not perfectly, but that means that some of the folks who would be normally doing this, or federal employees, they won't get to do the government will be shut down. You know, it'd be a bad thing if the federal government shuts down. A lot of people are going to go without paychecks. It's not going to be good for hardly anybody, except for me, I guess. So we'll see. we'll see. That's one of the reasons why I'll be leaving here a bit early. That, and also we didn't get that front page slot on Twitch like I was hoping for. So, yeah, thank you, McTeddy Games. Yeah, the weather is, it looks like it's looking like the shutdown is probably going to happen. So the weather might actually be a bigger stumbling block for us, but we'll see. Anywho, I'm going to be coming back to California sooner than expected, so I got to adjust that schedule, that calendar that we've got. But yeah. Anywho, that'll be really neat if it happens. I mean, holy cow. Even if we get out there on the water, there's still no guarantee that we'll actually see any leatherback turtles, let alone catch them and tag them and re-release them. But man, just to be part of that crew would be a tremendous honor, and I'm really hoping that happens. So, cross your fingers, chat. You know, send good vibes. Thank you, Space Gnome. Hey, I appreciate that. Yeah. Here says, who is in the field right now? Well, there's me, and let's go take a look at the quarry right now. I'll skip our Gastonia introduction, because most of you already know what we're digging up, and I've already seen that spiel. But if we get a raid or new people coming in, then I'll do that. But, yeah. Keep in mind, it is hot today, so some fashion choices might reflect that a little bit in here. There we go. Yeah. But, yeah, so we've got much of the same crew from yesterday. We lost Jeff this morning. He went and took off, and Matt is currently out grocery shopping. But,
We lost him.
yeah.
We lost him.
R.I.P. Yeah. But man, look at all these specimens. Holy cow. Very nice. Thank you, Erica. Shoot. We've got to have a number on these too, I'm sure, like a quantity.
We're up to 52.
52, not too shabby.
And,
yeah.
you know, 52 with a million bitlets and...
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So...
Excellent. Very
The two big concretions right there. This is the one with the 3 vertebra.
Oh, beautiful. Okay.
Yeah, you can kind of see the bottom.
Cool. So, yeah. We're digging up some Gastonia here, and these bones, again, are just absolutely everywhere. I'll pull out the laser pointer so I can gesture without getting too close, but this big hip bone, that's probably an ischium right there. We've got a vertebra right here. And we've got another limb bone right here. Could be a tib or something like that, tibia. There's just stuff everywhere. There's that gigantic spike right there like we saw on yesterday's stream. I love looking at that. It's such a charismatic bone right there. Oh, what is this?
That one is
That
really
looks spiky
Is another
as well.
spike?
Yeah, it didn't have a tip. Sadly, that was not there,
Yeah.
but...
Here, let me hop over here. Nice. Wow, excellent, Erica. Holy
Right?
cow. That's
It's
so
awesome.
cool.
Yeah, super cool.
Very nice. Might not look like much to those of you at home, but I'll try and outline it here. There is the perimeter of it. And Gastonia, a big armored dinosaur.
And then I just pulled this osteoderm
Oh, nice.
out of here, so it's broken.
Uh-huh.
It's an unusual shape because usually they're a bit rounder.
Yeah,
This was
yeah.
like a little bit lobular,
Huh.
and then you've got the nice depression
Yeah.
with that
beautiful.
pretty manganese,
Uh-huh.
purpley
That is really pretty. So that's the ventral surface that would
ventral.
be
Yeah, this
stuck
on
to the animal.
stuck to the animal on the outside, dorsal on the outside of the animal.
Nice, yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Erica.
That's real.
Very cool.
I totally thought that was a rib because
I thought it was too when I first got it. Like, that's a rib.
Yeah.
They'll usually have a little...
And any more funky theropod parts found? Yes, Dr. Tara, we do have a few more. In fact, we have a piece over there on the other side, in the other quarry. Josh thinks he might know what it is. So let's go check in over there, too. Yeah, and, yeah. Bug on Butt says, love to see it. Yeah, good, isn't it? And thank you, Sivsa. Thank you for the subscription there. Welcome to Paleontologizing. It's good to have you here. Yeah. And it is hot right now. Oof. Here, let's check the temperature before we head over there. I'm glad I changed shirts. I had a thicker shirt on earlier. Not as breathable. That was the right call to change it. Current temp. 87. Yeah, all right. I think it's the air is pretty still right now. We're used to getting breezes through here, and not been getting that so much. Also, we got really lucky this morning. It was nice and cloudy. I think we got a little too used to that in the morning. Now that the sun is really out, it's doing a number on me. Let me drink some water. All right. Let's go check out the other quarry over there and see that theropod bone again that Josh has been working on. Yeah. And oh, and thank you, Truckhorn. Hey, 38 months at Tier 2. I appreciate that, Truckhorn. Thank you. Thank you. I had an excellent birthday yesterday. I could get used to that, you know? It was fun. We had a good evening last night. Quarry sunset, which was like, what was it? Tequila and red Gatorade. Yeah, it was good stuff. Forget what the third ingredient was. There were 3. But, and thank you, McTeddy Games. I appreciate that. Yeah. But let's go check in on that theropod bone, because we might have a new ID on that, which is exciting. How's that going over there, Josh?
Pretty good. Just mapped it in, and I'm gonna get some more TP to wrap up the head of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah, so there's the piece that we've seen several times already.
Yeah. But it ends right there.
Not for a theropod tibia.
Yeah, we know it's theropod because it's hollow.
And
I expected it to keep going all the way in, but you see the distal condyle there, and yeah, it's that's the end of it. So that means it's short, squat. It's not a raptor. We know that much. There are a few things that have that short, squat morphology for theropods. Is it Therizinosaur? Could be. We'll see.
Interesting. Okay.
We'll see once we get it prepped out.
Awesome. Very, very cool. That would be really cool to have a Therizinosaur from here, because I don't think we have one from the poison strip. That would for sure be a new species.
Yeah.
It's not a new genus, so.
Yeah, I don't think... I don't know of any other, none that are described at least.
Yeah.
You never know about bones hidden in collections,
Of course,
where someone might say, actually, there's this one thing, in this, collection in Denver, and I'm like, maybe, but it's not published.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Nice.
We shall see once it gets prepped.
Yeah. We'll come back here and talk marine reptiles if that still works for you.
Yeah, no, that's great.
All right, nice. Oh, chat where I was working earlier today. We've got bone coming out all over the place here, of course. So let's grab our laser pointer. So we got bone here, we've got bone here and here, bone here. It's just all over the place. This is kind of where I was working earlier today. I was trying to trench through this spot over here and just kept hitting more and more bone, so I had to take it back, and I excavated this area and almost down to the bone layer, so I was able to work pretty quickly through there till it was lunchtime. And that's what I'll be doing again later. So yeah. But yeah, let's go walk around a little bit more. I realize chat might be a little bit slower today, given that it is Saturday. I hope everyone is having a lovely Saturday, or whatever day it happens to be in your time zone, or your present time, whether you're watching live or later on in the VOD or on YouTube. I'm glad you're here. Let me know if you're live here, if you've got any questions. And if it hasn't been described, it might as well not exist. There you go, Vexy. Yeah, that's kind of how it works. Yeah. We're quick as ever, says RB42. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be disparaging at all. That was not my intent.
Most of mine are in like blues realms of a lot of yeah.
Yeah.
There are a surprising number of songs in which it is about someone dying in a river.
There's a lot of drownings that happen,
Yeah.
Well, the blues kind of came out of the southeast, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
A lot of flooding.
Mississippi country, Mississippi River. Yeah. Chat, you'll see crop tops are in vogue right now because it's so hot
That's right.
with the male crew members. Here, I could join that party. Let's see.
Here we go.
There we go. Yeah. How's that?
It's hot.
Oh yeah,
It's
there we
getting
go.
hotter.
Oh my god. They're rolled up, buttoned up.
So yeah, things you got to do to keep cool around here. And Dr. Fluschfinger says, "Hey, at you all from North Germany. Hello from Eastern Utah right now. Between Colorado over there. Those clouds are over Colorado currently. And those ones are over, well, that's Arches National Park over there. So yeah. Anyway, I look ridiculous. Let me fix this. Here. There we go. Yeah, tube tops. Yeah, there you go. Anywho, if messages in the chat are coming in this slowly, I might even get a chance to go do some digging. We'll see. But let me know if you got any questions or anything. Again, I realize it's a Saturday. We don't have as many people watching, but if you've got any questions, now is the time. Strike while the iron is available. Oh, and that's right, Trek Nerd. It is National Public Lands Day. Yes, indeed. And we are working on public lands right now. Out here in eastern Utah, a lot of this land is public land. We happen to be working on Bureau of Land Management, BLM, federal land right now. And so we're working under permit here, so all of the fossils that we're excavating are going to the Prehistoric Museum in Price, Utah. So we had to, so Josh is curator of the museum. He's able to apply for permits. And the permitting procedure is like, you just have to be able to demonstrate, hey, we're paleontologists. We're going to excavate these things properly, take good data. All of the fossils are going to end up in a public repository, which is a museum it's got like official status where you can demonstrate that like, hey, these fossils are going to be here, they're going to be protected. If anything ever happens to the museum, it goes out of business or shuts down. There's plans in place to move the fossils to a different museum to ensure that they stay in the public trust. They'll never be sold off. They shouldn't be lost or anything like that. There's not going to be any auctions. These fossils belong to we the people, just like these public lands do. I honestly think that's one of the best parts of the United States is that we have these public lands, whether they're kind of run-of-the-mill and a Bureau of Land Management federal land, or whether they're things like national parks, like Arches National Park there on the horizon. Just like Woody Guthrie saying, this land belongs to you and me. As residents of the United States, this is our land, and we need to protect it for future generations. So that's a big part of what we're doing here too, We don't really think about it, it's just second nature to us, because we've been doing this forever, but, it means that we're not obviously littering here. We're trying to leave no trace to the best of our abilities. If we see anything untoward going on, we'll make sure that we report it. We're trying to be really good stewards of this land. And, you know, if we don't have to dig a giant hole, we're not gonna dig a giant hole. Stuff like that, you know. Trying to have as little an impact as we can, within reason, while we're doing this scientific mission out here. So, talk to just about any paleontologist. We're huge fans of public land, you know. It allows us to do what we do. If we had to do this on private land, that would be much, much more difficult. But yeah. And let's see. Ohio's getting new protected forest. Oh, very cool, right, Thallium? Nice. And Steve says, good to enjoy public lands while we can. You mean like before we get too old, decrepit? I agree, yeah. Or if you mean, I don't know, there is a scheme here in Utah, actually, where some folks in the more conservative of the two political parties in this duopoly system, they decided that they were going to try and, well, do a land, take a bunch of the federal land, transfer it to the state government. The state already doesn't have a budget to care for that land, so they would have to sell it off. So it was basically going to try and, yeah, it was going to be a private land grab. Luckily, it seems like that's not happening thus far, but if it does, if this land were sold off to a private buyer, we wouldn't be able to work here anymore, you know? That'd be the end of this whole project. That would be terrible for paleontology in Utah. So anyway, yeah. That would have been awful. I totally agree, Benji, yeah. So, and ahoy from Ireland says question of the bud. Hey, thank you. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Ahoy from eastern Utah. Let's see. And Dances with Dirt says, if I ever won the lottery, I'd fund a dig. I appreciate that. We need more people who think like you. That's that makes me smile. Yeah. We got about 20 minutes till we're going to go over and talk to Josh about marine reptiles here. So don't hesitate to ask any questions if you've got them. But, yeah, National Public Lands Day. Very appropriate that we're out here enjoying and doing science on our public lands. It's good stuff. A huge part of the American West is public land, by the way. It's a humongous portion of the state of Nevada and Utah, a good portion of California, a lot of Montana and Wyoming. The way that worked is, when the United States was still fairly new, and as people from the east started to move west and try and settle these lands, there's a lot of I don't know, it's difficult to find the right language to describe this kind of thing sometimes because, you know, these lands were already settled. There were lots of people who lived here before. Native peoples ranged all throughout the North American continent. But as civilization, take that with all of its implications and everything else, I guess, as that started to encroach more and more westward, the land started to get carved up. The home gave settlers the opportunity to claim land for their own by building a fence and then just filing for free, essentially. But premier farmland and, you know, areas along river, a lot of the places that could be exploited economically, those got scooped up and they're now private property. But that left huge expanses of land that nobody wanted at the time. And so there had to be somebody to kind of step in and manage those lands, protect them, administer them, that kind of thing. And so various government agencies stepped in to do that. And the Department of the Interior the Bureau of Land Management, they were established to do this kind of thing. And so just about anywhere that you have public land like this Bureau of Land Management federal land, these were areas that were considered undesirable. This was land that nobody wanted to start with. As you can tell, it's pretty dry. There's not a lot of vegetation for, running cattle through here. Good luck trying to grow any crops in an area that's this arid. This I'm sure qualifies as desert. Yeah, but what's good for us as paleontologists is that oftentimes the same criteria that make land undesirable for private ownership, dryness, lack of vegetation, remoteness, rock outcrops like this, nobody wanted to live here or farm here, but there's tons of beautiful rock like this. And this is exactly the kind of territory that we come to look for fossils in, to do geology, to try and figure out the history of life on Earth. So it's interesting, like in the Venn diagram between lands that didn't get scooped up by private interests early on, and later became federal land, protected federal land, and lands that are really good for finding fossils, there's a lot of overlap in that Venn diagram. So we're pretty lucky there. So like I said, I don't know if... I'll put it this way. There are few people who love public land as much as paleontologists. We are... This is our happy place. Badlands, exactly, Claire. Perfect for fossil hunting, bad for growing food, exactly. Yeah. Badlands and the best lands, yeah. Yeah. Term that people use, I think it's derived from French. It's like mold, like that. Badlands. These are the best lands for us. And it's been such a privilege being out here for the past week, camping under the stars, digging all day, and talking to you in chat, and just doing paleontology out here, hanging out with my people. It's a tremendous privilege. I'm so lucky to be out here. Well, yeah. And there you go, alright, yeah. And from Wombat Hole, how important is it to document the position where a specimen is found? Extremely important, especially at a site like this. Yeah. We can talk about that a little bit. Let me get some more water and we'll go into the quarry. We'll talk about how these bones are arranged and why it's incredibly important to document all of that. Because there's so much information we can glean from this. If we're trying to figure out what the story is here at this site, you gotta have that kind of information, You gotta have those quarry maps and everything else. All right.
There are a lot of boats that have stuff like that broken in.
So again, this is the sort of thing that separates paleontological fieldwork from, say, treasure hunting, We're trying to record as much data as we can, glean as much information from this as we can. It takes time, but it's worth it, because, we're doing science.
You get the big flood that then buries your bones and then boom.
What?
Is that bone sticking there?
Bone. Yeah. The bone.
There it is.
just
Julia
trying to figure
demonstrating that, how to test if something is rock or bone.
It's how you know.
Yeah, it sticks to your
But I'm not
tongue,
keeping
hopefully.
this because it's kind of rotted. But
Yeah.
yeah, we have a lot of roots. But we did dig everything back a foot.
Very
So-
nice. I
so
saw you
now
doing that
we've
earlier with the
exposed-
burlap over the surface.
Yeah, so now you've exposed a lot more.
Very nice. There's so much bone here. This
I don't really know what to do with it. Really.
laser pointed there, but yeah, bone here, bone there, and all through here.
Especially like everything that is this color.
Yeah, that's nuts. Just that gray color like that. I'm sure there's some concretion in there too, but for the most part, what you're seeing there, Chad, is bone just everywhere. It's nuts. So yeah, for those of you who are new here, yeah. Oh shoot, did you have something else you wanted to say, or no?
No,
Okay.
I was just listening. I was listening.
Yeah.
You're podcasting for us a little bit.
Well, good. I hope I can be mildly entertaining at least. But yeah, this site is called Laurie's site. Let me go out here for just a second. But this is the world's largest and most prolific ankylosaur bone bed. So ankylosaurs are these four-legged armored dinosaurs. They first show up in the Jurassic period, and we're here now in the early Cretaceous. These rocks are about 130 million years old. And these dinosaurs we typically think of as maybe being not particularly social. Normally, ankylosaurs are found kind of by themselves, one at a time. So it's rare to find them in groups. Here we've got an enormous assemblage of these animals. There's, dozens of them, probably hundreds, maybe 1,000 or more. All. What in the world happened? How do you get 1,000 armored dinosaurs all buried in one spot? What event led up to that, to the exclusion of we only find odds and ends, a few other bits and pieces of other kinds of dinosaurs here and other critters. It's almost all Gastonia, which is incredibly unusual. So, how do you have that in the first place? In trying to figure that out, we gather as much information as we can, we document everything that we can, and those clues are starting to come together. So,
That's kind of interesting. I mean, imagine what would happen to a Gastonia if it were to die in similar conditions. Like, would it mummify with the skin tighten around the heavily osteoderm body?
Right?
And I wonder how loose the osteoderms were after death. Like, could they fall out, or were they stuck in the skin?
Like I learned the hard way with a dead armadillo the other day. I'm like, well, this guy's great. I'm gonna bring him to the lab and skeletonize him, and I left him like lay out on the side of the road for a couple days, and I brought him to Kenny, and it was just like blah, osteoderms falling out. I was like, oh, lesson learned.
Yeah, I've seen the exact same
Wow.
thing.
Yeah.
That might be worth writing about.
Very loosely held together.
It's a very different animal, but I kind of wonder if something similar could happen with Gastonia, where you have them laying out, and all of the osteoderms kind of just fall off.
A good place to look would be
cool
like
conversation here.
crocodiles in like dry places. Pretty dried out.
Ecuador?
Yeah.
It's Ecuador. Some Berensmeyer style like landscape. Dead animals out on the floodplain, and I know they had crocs.
Cool.
It might be good to look into.
When they're decomposing,
Right.
how fast do the osteoderms scatter?
Especially the osteoderms.
That'd be good to know, yeah.
Especially after mummifying or drying out like that. Like crocodiles that get caught out in the
Let me
dry
bring out a quarry map here.
desert.
Right, because that's the stuff they're finding.
Let's see. Here we go. Oh.
Lakes. And
So,
they don't have the strength to get from one to the other.
this is what we're talking about here. At this site, it's really important to document where each of these different bones comes from to the best of our ability.
This is a very different animal.
So we have a whole grid system set up here. Almost like a game of Battleship or something. Where we've got coordinates, and then we draw in each of the bones. On here we've got these mapping grids that we use. So we're recording where each of these bones have come from. And we've got pages and pages and pages like this, because these bones are incredibly dense. Like, they're densely packed, I mean.
You don't necessarily have to
And here, so they're having a conversation right now. I was going to ask Michael to explain this, but I could do it myself. If we're trying to figure out what happened to these animals and why they're all buried in the same spot, like, having a good idea of where everything is super, super important. If we just dug everything up without recording where each of the bones were from, we wouldn't have nearly as much information. So by mapping things out like that, we can tell that, oh shoot, all of these guys are disarticulated. So all of these animals fell apart after they died, before they were buried. And that is crucial to understand. So, in order to get so many armored dinosaurs all preserved in the same spot, what do you have to do? Well, we have some clues. We know that these critters all fell apart, which implies that they weren't buried super rapidly, or at least what buried them wasn't what killed them. They were already dead by the time they got buried, and those carcasses had already fallen apart, maybe been torn apart by scavengers potentially. So I'll just kind of cut to the chase. Our hypothesis at this point, our working hypothesis, which is subject to change when we find more information, is that these animals may have died in drought conditions, potentially. There are some indications on the bone that these critters, they weren't healthy when they died. They'd maybe been severely malnourished. They seem to be exhibiting signs of like decay and stuff inside of their bones, almost similar to like shell rot that turtles get. So these animals were highly stressed before they died. And we know, by studying the rocks around here, that there were periodic wet-dry cycles. So we get signatures in the rocks that show that there were severe droughts through here. And so maybe this was a particularly bad drought. And these animals were congregating in an area where they normally could find water. We have evidence of big river channels moving through here at the time. And so we know that this is an area where you had a lot of flowing water seasonally. And then I guess sometimes it would dry out. And so in this case, it may have been a particularly bad drought. These animals all congregated here to find water. Maybe the water was drying up with all these animals sloshing around drinking it. And, you know, really bad drought. They perished here. And then you just have so many of these animals all spread out across the landscape. Their carcasses fell apart, got disarticulated, the bones spread around. And then finally, when the rains came again, they came so torrentially that the river overflowed its banks and deposited a lot of sediment over these bones and buried them. And they've been here for 130 million years since then. That's our working hypothesis right now. That's what all of the evidence seems to be pointing toward. All of this could change if we found some things that contradict that. But so far, the more data that we're collecting, the stronger and stronger that story seems to be getting. So, yeah. Again, we've been talking about this all week, so this is mostly for the benefit of anybody who's new here today. But that's what we're thinking right now. And let's see. And hi, Angel Shine to you too. Welcome to Paleontologizing. Sorry it took me a minute to get to your message. Wonder how long that process would take, says Dances with Dirt. Which process? Yeah. And McTeddy Games says it's really cool that we can piece together history like that. Yeah, it's, well, prehistory. If I'm gonna be all, actually, history means written history, so it'd have to be after the invention of writing. This would be prehistory here. Very appropriate that we're digging for the Prehistoric Museum in Price, Utah. But, yeah, if we're trying to figure out what happened here at the time, I guess what is the history of the site? We can use the word history more loosely. I'm just being contrarian. If we're trying to find out what is the history of this site, what clues if you know how to examine them, if you know how to spot them and interpret them. And that's a big part of what Michael Chiappone is doing right now. So he's currently getting his PhD in paleontology, in taphonomy in particular. That's the study of, as he says, how fossils become fossils. What are the processes that act upon a critter after it's died up until, you know, when it gets excavated? Yeah. So there's a lot that can happen. Rotting away, being torn apart by scavengers, maybe being transported by forces like flowing water. How does the thing get buried? How does it get permineralized and become a fossil? You know, does it get compressed when you get more and more and more layers of rock forming on top of it? Does it get squashed and deformed? All of these are taphonomic processes, and they're all really important to understand. If you're trying to gather as much data as you can from these fossils, you've got to try and figure out what happened to them, you know, in the time since the animal died, you know? So, yeah, important stuff. But it's really cool, like 130 million years later, all of these poor animals that died maybe in that drought, it's sad to think that these animals suffered and perished, and then they've been lying under the ground for 130 million years, and now they're being excavated. Now we're exhuming them. I like to think it's almost like we're bringing them back to life, in a way, metaphorically speaking. The tender care that we give to these fossils, the delicacy with which we work on them, I like to think I like to think it's respectful. I like to think that we're showing respect to these animals, and I like to think that it makes things just a little bit better, you know? Because so many, out of all of the animals, all of the organisms that have ever lived on our percentage ever become fossils in the first place. And then only the tiniest percentage of those fossils ever actually get excavated and studied. Back then, who died under these conditions, they're, I hope, being honored by us in a way, you know? It makes me feel better to think about it that way, you know? Because if you really think about these poor critters out there dying in a drought, that's not a good way to go, you know? But it's almost like they have a second life thanks to us. That's the way that I like to frame things, you know? Yeah. And Bones do have a story to absolutely Wombat Hole. And hey, Lapa New Year, how are you doing? Hello, hello. Nelf says you're like a detective looking at clues to determine how they died, and the dig site is similar to a crime scene. You're looking for clues to tell their story? Exactly. Yeah. And McTeddy Games says, I definitely respect that mindset. It's giving us a chance to remember things lost to time. They deserve that recognition. They were living creatures, says Benchy. I agree. Yeah. And I don't know, I think that mindset, it helps me do a better job whenever I'm excavating a site like this. You know, because sometimes it's easy it's easy to get jaded about this. It's easy to get frustrated. You're out in the heat, under difficult conditions. Maybe the wind is blowing dust right into your eyes. It's easy to just go, you know what? Forget this. I'm frustrated. I'm just, I'm done with it. I'm not going to do a very good job. You can't do that, especially at this kind of site where the bones are so densely packed, and it's... You have to keep yourself in good spirits. You have to keep morale up. And you have to recognize that I need to be as respectful and as precise, as careful as I can be. It makes you do a better job, you know? So I'm all about that. I hope that makes sense. I hope it doesn't sound too corny or sentimental or anything. I think sometimes being a little bit sentimental can make you a better scientist. If you're channeling that into in a productive way, you know? To make you excavate more carefully. To make sure that you're more focused, that you're giving the site the respect that it's due. Yeah. And you answered the question. Oh, Blue Cortina, excellent. Yeah. And as a matter, you will not get the answer you seek. Angel Shine, I don't know what you're talking about. What? Yeah. Let's see. And first time from Crazy Kudu. Well, hello, Crazy Kudu. How you doing? Thank you for reposting that, Claire. In the early days, people just slammed bones, called them new... No, not really. I mean, that's a bit of an oversimplification. Typically studied, nobody knew what a dinosaur was. That's the least information that we'll ever have about these animals, is right at the beginning. So the first few attempts were, they were dealing with very, very limited material. Just a handful of bones, not anything close to a complete skeleton. And so this is kind of like at the core of fossil science. How do you reconstruct animals that you've never seen in the flesh? How do you figure out what they looked like, how they lived, how they behaved, all of this stuff? You're asking a huge question. For a dinosaur like this, like Gastonia lori-mcwinniei, let me go get our plastic model and show you. For this animal, it wasn't that difficult for a number of reasons. I'll tell you why. So, this critter here, Gastonia lori-mcwinniei, that we're digging up, we think it looked a lot like... Oh, come on. Not like this. Yeah. So here's a plastic model. This is the best one that I could find of this critter. Only the best for you, chat. So really spiky dinosaur. Plant eater. It's got a beak at the front. Just all of these armor plates and spikes. This one was discovered back in the 90s by a lady named Lori McWhinney, and it was named Gastonia lori-mcwinniei. This is not the first species of Gastonia that was found, however. There's an earlier species, which we call Gastonia burgii. And here is an approximation of what this animal might look like in life. Some of those spikes aren't long enough. There's not spikes on the back like there should be. But, yeah. So this is not entirely correct, but, decent skeletal reconstructions by Greg Paul here. So when we're trying to figure out what a dinosaur looked like, first, we got to make sure that we excavate as many bones as we can. Whatever's there at a site, we try and get out. Take those bones back to the laboratory, clean them, stabilize them, tuck them away safely on museum shelves, and then you get them out and study them again. You arrange them, you try and figure out how they would actually articulate together. And so, in terms of assembling the skeleton, the bones themselves kind of tell you. There will be things like muscle scars on the bones occasionally that show you, where the muscles attach, which shows you how the bone should be arranged. There's other things like, how much cartilage do you put in between the bones, especially like vertebrae. There can be some guesswork there, but for the most part, we can get a pretty good approximation of what the skeleton should look like when the animal was alive. And then after that, you try and imagine what the flesh and muscle and organs and then skin would look like over the top. And sometimes you also have things like feathers. Sometimes you get really lucky and you get fossilized skin or fossilized feathers on the actual fossil itself that can tell you what the animal would have looked like to a certain extent. In a few cases, we can even tell what colors certain dinosaurs were, if there are certain color cells that get preserved in those feathers or that fossil skin. It's rare, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. So, yeah, I hope that partially answers your question. But the thing is, the more fossils we have, the easier this is to do. Because if you don't have anything close to a complete skeleton, then guesswork involved. If you don't have a complete skeleton, what you do is you look at animals that are closely related, evolved from common ancestors. They have a lot of shared traits, shared characteristics. And so, I don't know, think about two animals today that are related to one another. Like, let's say a horse and a zebra. These are members of the same family. They're members of the same genus Equus, as I understand it. I think zebras are with an Equus, right? And so, say that nobody had ever seen a zebra before. Say that they had gone extinct back in the Pleistocene, and we don't really know what they look like, but we find their bones, and then, well, shoot, these look a lot like horse bones. So you horse, Yeah. Well, it's a lot like a horse, but it's a bit stockier. It's got shorter legs. Maybe the skull is a little bit different. Very cool. And then when it comes to color it in, to put the skin on it, you'd probably not know that it had stripes because it doesn't fossilize. So, I don't know. I chose that example on purpose because it demonstrates that we have incomplete information. And we do the best with what we've got. With Gastonia lori comes from this site here. And they're, I don't know, we've got a ton of different individuals. So, but Gastonia burgei, the species that was discovered earlier, we have skeletons that are more or less in articulation. So we know how the bones were arranged because they were still arranged in the ground. This animal died and the bones are still in their proper places. And so we can study that. And then for Gastonia burgei, we've got a pretty good idea of the placement of all of the armor scutes there, all of these osteoderms. And then we can also, you know, use that as our key for figuring out Gastonia lori. So for the species we have here, we're really lucky that there's a very closely related species that was discovered in this same area from just a few million years older. And that can be our guide for reconstructing this animal. Because these guys were all found disarticulated. They're all blown apart. All the pieces are jumbled up. So Gastonia burgei is kind of our guide for that. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. And you bet, Crazy Kudu. It was a good question. Yeah, these are important things to talk about. And let's see. Archaeology. What does it start? Oh, I can just answer this for you, right? I'm going to go talk with Josh in a little bit about marine reptiles. It's that time. But that sounds like a helicopter. Well, if we're very lucky, maybe it's some eccentric wealthy person who will invite us to a Costa Rican island and offer to fully fund our dig for a further 5 years. I don't think we'll be that lucky today, though. Anywho. Yeah, so the difference between archaeology and paleontology is human versus non-human for the most part. So archaeology is the study of human artifacts, and sometimes human. But it's all human stuff. You also have zooarchaeology, study of animals associated with archaeological sites. They tend to be very recent because people haven't been around for very long. Paleontology is non-human fossils that tend to be, 10,000 years old or older. That's a rough approximate, it's not a hard and fast rule, but yeah. As for the difference between grave robbing and archaeology, I think a lot of it comes down to whether or not you're taking good notes. Whether you're doing it for science or whether you're doing it for kicks and giggles, fortune and glory, whatever. Yeah. Anywho. What if a dinosaur eats a human, says Anakim Luke. That's happened all the time before. Especially in remote areas, dinosaurs will eat people, at least until those old cartoons with a cowboy crawling his way through a sandy desert going, water, water, and there's vultures circling overhead. Those vultures are birds, and birds are dinosaurs. So dinosaurs have eaten a lot of people over the years, generally after the people are already dead. But that's a thing, certainly. Yeah. Yeah. And Sicarato says, what was the closest dino kind to humankind? They're all kind of equally distantly related to mammals like us. So, here, I'll break out that other. So when you ask what is the closest dinosaur to humankind, my instinct is to. And so, here's a little phylogeny, a evolutionary family tree. I'm sure we'll be referencing this when we talk about marine reptiles too. So dinosaurs begin here. They evolved from an earlier kind of reptile. So everything that evolves from this is a dinosaur. Mammals, including us, come off of this branch with that, see that leaf right there? On this chart, which you can actually get this as a poster from 252mya.com. It's really, really well done. I love showing this as a visual aid. But every branch like this that has a little leaf means that there's members of that group still around today, that they still survive. They're not extinct. So we only have a few of these. There's a leaf. There's one for Komodo dragons, for other lizards like chameleons, for snakes, for crocs, for birds. And we've got one for turtles, and that's it. Everybody else is extinct. All these other groups. But closely related to dinosaurs, really at all. Yeah. So mammals are critters that give birth to live young, typically today. They didn't all used to, but some of them still lay eggs, like platypus and echidna. Anywho, mammals feed their young with milk. That's kind of a defining characteristic. No other animal does that in the same way that mammals do. Yeah, it's... if you were to find the last common ancestor between mammals and the group that leads to dinosaurs, that would be like 320 million years ago. So you got to go back a long, long, long way to find where the ancestors of mammals and the ancestors of dinosaurs split off. So we've been separate, those two lineages, for a long, long time. And that means that, since we're not close relatives really at all, there is no real, closest dinosaur to humans, because they're all kind of equally distantly related. Yeah. Does that make sense? I hope it... But yeah. Oh, not necessarily a dumb question. No, Sicarato. It's good to be able to talk about this. Any chance I get to talk phylogeny, talk about the evolutionary relationships between different critters, that's important. It's because honestly, that doesn't get taught well enough, or even at all sometimes in schools, especially in the United States. Even though this is pretty much the most fundamental idea in all of biology, that living things are related to one another and they change over time, they diversify and evolve, and some groups go extinct. That's the story of life on Earth, and biology is utterly incomplete without an understanding of that. Due to, I don't know, frankly, political reasons, this sort of thing doesn't get talked about enough in schools in the U.S. There are a lot of folks who don't want people to know about this. It's in their best interest to keep you from learning it. And these are often very powerful people. They're currently running the federal government, for crying out loud. The guy who's second in line to the presidency right now, he was quoted on the record claiming that learning evolution in school causes school shootings. Just completely bonkers. So anyway, there are a lot of very powerful people who don't want you to know about this. They don't want you to learn this kind of thing, and they've been quite successful in textbooks and that kind of thing. It's a serious problem. Yeah. Anywho. Yeah. And Angel Shine says, can you extract DNA from soil bones? We can't, no. Like Claire was saying, DNA is a pretty fragile molecule. It decays pretty quickly. So after a couple million years, it's completely gone. People have been trying for 40 or 50 years now at this point to try and extract DNA from dinosaur fossils, and nobody's been able to do it. And we're starting to finally become resigned to the idea that it'll probably never happen. DNA just doesn't last that long, because the last of the non-bird dinosaurs died out 66 million years ago. A lot more than 2 million. So, not a thing, unfortunately. I sorely wish that we could have, DNA extracted from dinosaur fossils. We could do a lot of really cool science with that, but it just doesn't seem to be a possibility at this point. Anyway, oh, Josh is back over there. Let's go talk marine reptiles, shall we? Let me get some water. I'll bring my water bottle over, actually. And why don't I bring over all those visual aids? Because why not? Bet you they'll come in handy. Grab that one. Nice. And maybe they didn't have DNA. Well, I mean, all living things on Earth have DNA, so they certainly did have DNA. Birds, who were descended from dinosaurs, they're full of DNA, so we know that dinosaurs did have it. There's no reason to think that they wouldn't. It'd be like saying, well, maybe dinosaurs weren't made of atoms. Like, we know that they were. Yeah. Anywho. Excuse me. How's the team doing, Josh?
Good.
Yeah?
Well, them? Oh, they suck. I thought you meant my team. My team's doing great. We're finding lots of cool dead stuff. Auburn's kicking themselves in the something, and about to gift A&M another field goal right here at the end of the first half.
I'm sorry, man. Shoot.
What's it gonna be? 16 or no? 13? I don't even know. half paying attention.
It's getting worse
I think
too.
it would be 13-3.
Yeah, they kicked a field goal. I think they kicked another field goal.
Oh, maybe 13-6 then.
Okay.
13-3.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. You ready to talk marine reptiles? Is it that
Yeah,
time?
it's halftime and they're garbage. So
Okay.
yeah. Not the marine reptiles. The Auburn Tigers are.
Yeah. Although marine reptiles haven't been doing so hot since the end of the Mesozoic, but
They haven't.
but we'll talk about that, and yeah.
For sure.
You want to go sit over there in the shade?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Let me set up the camera over here. Yeah.
My jacket's still drying a little bit, but we're gonna pop that tibia out here.
Oh, nice. Oh yeah,
Once we're done
beautiful.
chopping.
So brand new little jacket here. It's so cute. Look at that. Ah, nice. Theropod tibia in there. All right. Excellent.
You want a knee pad? We got plenty right there.
I'll just probably kind of lounge over there. Maybe I'll do a Jim Kirkland pose. Or maybe I'll grab some knee pads too. We got lots of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the key is to do the Jim Kirkland pose with knee pads underneath you. I mean, he would say you just need to bring full size body pillows out here. I don't want to know how much sweat those intake.
It's a lot.
If I'm laying down like this, lounging.
There we go. This is nice. Wow. It's like a beach party. There's just sand everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Sand, dust.
Yeah. What's not to love?
Yeah.
Here.
We try not to think about how dirty we are.
Yeah.
When folks show up to camp, you give them a big sweaty hug.
All right. And then let me check our framing and make sure that everything looks good here. But yeah, everybody, this is Dr. Josh Lively, who's curator of the museum in Price. How would you introduce yourself to any new folks?
Yeah, so I've been working here at the Prehistoric Museum as curator since 2020. I think I started remotely September 1st. So just about 5 years ago, and then moved out here in October of 2020.
You started remotely at first?
Yeah.
Oh, neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was
COVID.
Yeah, during COVID, and it was also we had trouble moving, so because it was COVID.
Yeah.
So I worked remotely for a month and got out here in mid-October, something like that.
So, what are your favorite fossil groups, Josh? What do you work on?
Favorite fossil groups? So those can sometimes be different than what you actually work on.
Fair.
Because you get into research on a certain group, you get in, you spend hours, days, years working on them, and you learn about all the problems, all the things you don't know, and that leads to frustrations and leads to I work on this, but do I really like these animals anymore?
Yeah.
Do I like turtles? Do I like mosasaurs? I think I do. I think they're still my favorites.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say so. They're both great study systems. Whether it's turtles, I think everyone knows what turtles are because we still have them. We still have them in the ecosystems today.
Yeah.
That's what I worked on for my master's at the University of Utah. For my PhD, though, I worked on these critters right here. Mosasaurs, which are marine reptiles. They are specifically marine lizards from the late Cretaceous, almost exclusively from the late Cretaceous, with maybe some of the earlier members being in the latest early Cretaceous, basically.
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are my...
Nice.
And I can talk about why I think they're great to work on if you want to. So.
Yeah, we might get into that. If you want to talk about it now, you certainly can. But I'm figuring that's probably going to come up as we're discussing.
Yeah, it you know, kind of just so, and we can get into it more. But it comes down to sample size. The fact that there are thousands and thousands of turtle fossils from the Mesozoic, specifically the late Cretaceous, the time period I'm most comfortable with. And the same thing is true for mosasaurs, which is kind of a rarity for big, toothy, sexy animals.
Right,
So, you know, you think about, however many Tyrannosaurus specimens there are. I'm sure either you or someone on the stream could probably tell me.
There's something like 60 or 70 if you include... commercial specimens.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, you know, mosasaurs as a group, you know, there are literally thousands of fossils, thousands of individuals in museum collections because they are living in a depositional environment. So they're easy to preserve, just like turtles as well. But yeah, for a large animal like a mosasaur, it's kind of a rarity to have that. So it's an advantage to doing science with them.
Yeah. And with turtles, I mean, they also have the advantage of having a plastron and especially a carapace that disarticulates after death oftentimes. And, like, the texture. Tell us about that on turtles. Like,
yeah, so turtles, and so a lot of them are aquatic, so they're living in, again, a depositional environment, whether it's a river or a lake.
So they almost come pre-buried after they die.
Yeah, they kind of come pre-buried. Some of them do fall apart, absolutely, like our soft-shell turtles fall apart. A lot of the extinct groups of turtles, some of which we can go into a little bit more, do fall apart. The group of turtles I worked on for my master's, baenid turtles, they're totally extinct, so we don't have them around today. They were kind of just generalist pond and river turtles back then. But one thing that's neat is that they have relatively determinate growth. And they reach adulthood, and their shells totally fuse up.
Right.
So not only are they living in a depositional environment, they're basically growing into a boulder.
And they're pretty resilient.
And they're already aerodynamically shaped, so you get a lot of them. And so those are really great to study. You know, it's back to the sample size. They preserve well, and you can really start to ask biological questions about them when you have a big sample size like that.
Nice. Part of what I was trying to get at too was that the texture of their shells can be pretty diagnostic.
Right? Oh yeah. So your texture. So texture for certain groups is great, especially if you are restricted within kind of a smaller geographic area. So let's say Western North America, where I typically work. Your trionychids, your soft-shell turtles, have really distinctive pitting across the shell. They don't have scales on their shells. So they have kind of a leathery skin covering the carapace and the plastron, the top and the bottom of the shell. And it's held together by soft tissue instead of having a bony bridge holding those parts of the shell together.
Okay.
And so...
Is that why they have those, like, spiky projections off the perimeter of the shell? I think trionychids have that, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of just related to that reduction in the ossification.
Gotcha.
That if you get baby turtles that don't have their shells fully formed, you will see those same spikes. And even something like a box turtle or a red-eared slider. So those are kind of like little precursors to the shell that then get covered with bone as the animal grows. Because oftentimes you'll have if somebody finds a baby turtle with there are those little rods sticking out, rods of bone sticking out, they'll say, "Oh, this is a soft shell turtle." No, actually, when you start looking at it, it's got a smooth shell surface. No, that's just a juvenile that isn't fully ossified.
Interesting.
Yeah, fully formed shell.
I didn't know. It shows how little I know about turtles. That this is news to me, but I'm trying to get more into turtles. This is going to be a thing.
We're going to learn more about turtles.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, that's really cool. That's really cool.
So yeah, that's one group. Then
Yeah.
you've got this group, these two different groups that are kind of closely related to soft-shell turtles. They're sometimes lumped into a group called trionychoids, but they have much more solid shells. One called Adocus that we get in Western North America, kind of a long-ranging turtle genus.
Yeah, that's a fossil one, to be clear.
Yeah, it goes extinct, well before modern times.
Yeah.
And it has what I would describe as a muted golf ball texture.
Right.
So it's got those pits.
Those dimples.
Yeah, the little dimples.
Uh-huh.
They're not, deeper pits like the trionychids.
Yeah.
They just look like, the shell smooth with just some little dimples.
Yeah.
A lot like a golf ball. That's kind of how I describe it.
Huh.
And then another group, that one along with basilemes, those groups arise in Asia. They originate over in Asia and make it into North America during the late Cretaceous.
They come across that land bridge over Alaska.
Yeah.
Yeah. A while. They're turtles. But,
they
have millions of years to do it. Yeah.
But yeah, if you can walk along at half a mile per hour and eventually make it.
Yeah.
And so basilemes is kind of closely-ish related, and it's also got a dimpled shell, but in between the dimples there are little tiny pyramids. With just a hand lens you can identify, all right, do I have a trionychid?
Right.
Do I have an Adocus? Do I have a basilemes? And then you can start to go from there.
So I've heard that specialists like Howard Hutchinson, back in like the 60s and 70s, people who specialize in turtles and are really good at identifying these textures, Howard used to get invited to all kinds of different field adventures and places because they needed a turtle person on site. Because they didn't necessarily know the age of the rocks. But if he can pick up a fragment of turtle shell and go, oh, this is an Adocus, this is basilemes, this is whatever, you know the age of the rocks based on that one turtle fragment. So that was like, a huge advantage that he could give a field crew.
Yeah.
And, it was his ticket to do a lot of really cool stuff, like working up in the Arctic or... all these different things that he did. I like to use that as an example of in science, everybody wants to work on dinosaurs. People love dinosaurs; they're really charismatic. But if you find a fragment of a dinosaur, it's not going to give you as much information as, say, a fragment of a turtle.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, and that's why I really say when it comes to paleontology, if someone comes up to me, and this has happened a few times, a student comes up to me at a conference and says, "I really like dinosaurs." I'm like, "Oh, great, kid." Tell why? And then usually there's not a good answer. But if someone says, "Oh, I'm really interested in past environments." That's a way better answer to give if you're looking to collaborate with someone, because then you can say, all right, what about? And I can love understanding the changes in the biota tied to climate, or tectonic changes. Those are being question based. And realizing that sometimes dinosaurs aren't the best group to answer those questions, I think is a really great way to be. So
it's like the difference between saying, I like this because this is, it's cool, versus this is really scientifically interesting. It can help us answer important questions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Howard specifically, while you mentioned him, you go to museums where they have turtle fossils, and and within a museum collections, everyone doesn't get to see this, but there are little specimen cards in the museum that are tied to the specimen, so it has some level of information about that specimen, where it's from, how old it is, the age of the rocks, and the preliminary ID. A lot of times turtles aren't ID'd. They're identified as turtle. Testudines, indeterminate, in the collections. But then there's a little pencil identification on the back.
Same handwriting.
Same handwriting. Oh no, this is actually Compsomys, JHH. J. Howard Hutchison.
Yep.
We know. All right, Howard was here.
Yeah.
That's his call sign.
Berkeley is full of these, by the way. Or like collector Howard Hutchinson for nearly every turtle in the collections. It's nuts. Yeah. That was my first job ever at UCMP when I first started volunteering there. I told you this.
Yeah.
My baptism by fire was Pat Holroyd handed me like a huge box of turtle fragments from, I think from like the Green River Formation or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
I think they were Eocene, and or maybe they were Judith. I don't know. But she's like, I want you to, paint gesso on every single one of these and write the specimen number and the locality number.
Right.
On like 10,000 turtle fragments.
That was your let's see how much this guy cares about sort of job, and everyone gets those.
And I passed with flying. Yeah. So anyway, marine reptiles.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk. I brought 2 different books. These are both pretty new, and I've been trying to bone up on marine reptiles, trying to learn more about these critters, because I'm starting to work on, hopefully, leatherback turtles and some of their relatives. But, so I just brought these. We can page through these if we want to, if we're talking about a particular group or something. But, Josh, what is a marine reptile, and why is it not like a group?
Yeah, so a lot of different groups have gone marine.
Yeah.
All of these reptile groups that we lump into this kind of meaningless group, marine reptiles, that originate on land. At least as far as we can tell, there aren't any that arose from aquatic animals.
So it's like the new group of marine reptiles that shows up in the fossil record. That's a fresh time that somebody's coming from land into the ocean.
Exactly.
Every single time.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's happened many, many times throughout the evolution of reptiles.
Yeah.
Many groups have gone into a marine environment. Sometimes many different times. We'll get there with a couple of different groups, but
interesting.
Whether it's ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, both of those are natural groups. So groups that are more closely related to one another than they are to anything else.
Yeah.
And those might have one origin for one marine origin. So one plesiosaur evolutionarily decided, let's look for food in the waters. And then after that, you have this thing with big long paddles that look like whale flippers.
I'm sure we could find a picture in here somewhere.
Oh yeah. A lot of different flavors of plesiosaurs. Short neck, long neck.
Yeah.
They all have big flippers and short tails for the most part. So
there's some there.
Yeah, exactly.
These are ones with relatively big heads.
Yeah, some of them they all have long flippers.
Yeah.
Relatively short tails. Number of vertebrae, they all have relatively long necks, but some are shorter than others.
Yeah.
Some have big heads, some have small heads. But the thing that really unites them, just at a gross anatomical scale, larger flippers and a shorter tail.
Nice.
It's one easy way to tell even the big-headed plesiosaurs from something like a mosasaur.
Nice. Do we have a good idea? I remember I asked Takuya Kanishi about this a while ago, and I forget his answer. Where do plesiosaurs come from? Like, what are they related to? I think it's still kind of a mystery, right?
Reptiles. They're not. They don't seem to be too closely related to any modern group.
Yeah.
Folks have thrown around the idea. Turtles, lizards. Yeah. They seem them and ichthyosaurs as well seem to branch off somewhere around the base of reptiles. So they're not more closely related to lizards, not more closely related to turtles, crocs, or anything like that. Tuataras, snakes. Any of those. They're their own kind of group, and they, we really need, honestly, more Triassic marine and marginal marine fossils, and probably even Permian marine and marginal marine fossils to really help us tell that story.
Right. Okay.
So that's a long way to say I don't know. And most of us, we don't know. But they're probably fairly basal with regards to diapsid reptiles. So
one of the things that was mentioned in, I think, both of these books, and I'll show these to the camera again because Claire wanted to see them to get the titles, but there is something that I was surprised by. Apparently there's like a few researchers who are coming around to the idea that maybe a lot of these marine reptiles actually had a more recent common ancestor than we thought. So like ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, even things like placodonts, I think, thalattosaurs, they might come from a fairly small group of reptiles.
Yeah, the Sauropterygian. Yeah, I mean, and that's actually a fairly traditional idea, I think.
It fell out of favor for a long time, as I understand it.
Okay, so folks are coming back to it.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this could all change with another publication like tomorrow.
Yeah,
but,
I haven't looked at these books yet. I super focused on my group of marine reptiles.
Yeah.
Because the others weren't really relevant to the questions I was interested in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the thing, I'm kind of a phylogenetic nihilist in that I copyright actually like 2015 Joshua Lively, because the reality is folks, paleontologists will get tied to one idea, what their phylogenetic hypothesis, and
phylogenetics were evolutionary relationships, like evolutionary family tree.
I didn't know if you had introduced that at all.
I have, but we got people trickling in and out.
Oh, totally. Yeah, basically reptile family tree. Or family tree of anything.
Yeah, phylogeny.
So these folks that get tied to one phylogeny, one family tree, and said, "Oh yeah, this is correct." Every phylogeny, every family tree, by definition, is incorrect because we don't have all the fossils.
Yep, there'll always be incomplete at the very least. And
it doesn't mean that we shouldn't, run those analyses and everything. They are a very important part of figuring out where a new animal, or even, animals that have been named for 150 years, where they fit into the tree of life. But I think folks have to be realistic about, especially with certain groups. This is the Tyrannosaur tree. All right, good luck, buddy. We'll find another one next year, and it'll be totally different.
Yeah. That's a really good point. And I do wish more people would recognize that. It
requires humility that a lot of people in general, not just scientists, but people in general, really have a hard time with humility. So, and doses of reality.
Yeah. So I figured before we get to your mosasaurs, your babies.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll kind of loosely do this, like go through geological time, just briefly touch on some of these different marine reptile groups, and then we'll get to the mosasaurs, who are kind of the last and, you might say, ultimate marine reptile.
Sure. I mean, they are a group that survive some turnover in the ocean and kind of get lucky and then very unlucky.
Yeah.
And actually I was flipping through this book, which is pretty good. This is Natalie Bardet's book, and Friends, Bardet and Friends. It actually goes through and talks about all the different groups through time.
I'll bring the camera a little closer.
Because here's the reality. There are a lot of obscure things where...
especially in the Triassic.
Yeah, if I start to talk about all of these, I'm going to leave out something because, especially the Triassic stuff. Yeah. I love to tell all my friends that work in the Triassic, they work in the basement rocks, because, it's not the Cretaceous. But the Triassic is kind of a fun time because you get a lot of these weirdos showing up, that are often tied into this Sauropterygian group.
Right. Yeah.
Whether it's the plesiosaurs or the ichthyosaurs, which kind of continue to do well, or things like placodonts, which have been tied to turtles, turtle origins. Flipping through here, like, okay, what am I gonna miss? There's some weirdos in the Paleozoic. We can skip over those.
Things like mesosaurs.
Yeah, and
sticking to the Mesozoic and maybe a little bit Cenozoic for today. So.
Yeah, for sure. Like nothosaurs are, definitely one of the ones. These could rise to some of these later groups, whether they're plesiosaurs or whatever. But by the end of it, to think of these animals as, parts of the ecosystem. By the end of the Triassic, you've got proper plesiosaurs and ichthyosaurs, which were the, primary consumers towards the top of the food chain in Mesozoic oceans for the vast majority of the Mesozoic.
Yeah.
Right up until the late Cretaceous.
Let me grab my time scale and we'll give people some visual perspective on this.
Yeah. I'm going to flip through.
So yeah, the age
I've already made it to the Jurassic, and now it's just going to be ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs for a little while.
With the
exception, of course, of crocs, which, I mean, I don't know how many times crocs have gone marine.
I don't know if anybody knows that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some croc person, if they've tuned into the stream, they're probably gonna say it's 3, which seems right.
Alexander Morrison in the chat right now, but
well, I mean, hey, we're all here to learn. So if anyone,
I was gonna say,
Here, the colors right here are going to be useful for talking about geological time. So Paleozoic, Mesozoic, this is the age of dinosaurs and marine reptiles. And the Cenozoic is the age of mammals. And there's some marine reptiles still around in this today, even until the present. But yeah, Triassic is purple, Jurassic is blue, Cretaceous is green. It's kind of our standard color coding for that. You see that on geological maps and stuff. So the Triassic is the purple one. This is the beginning of the Mesozoic era. So the Triassic period is bookended by 2 major extinction events. At the end of the Permian, beginning of the Triassic, and then the end of the Triassic, beginning of the Jurassic. So like, I was talking with Richard Butler about this yesterday. Everybody always says, oh, the Triassic is so weird, all these critters are so bizarre. And I wondered, like, is this kind of overplayed? And he's like, no, it is incredibly weird, and it's just the age of weirdos. And that's when marine reptiles, like, really, really get their start.
Yeah.
And we get things like nothosaurs, ichthyosaurs. Yeah, maybe I can show a few of those real quick.
Yeah.
But,
and one thing I'll say too about the Triassic.
Yeah.
There are weirdos. Kevin Padian had one of the best quotes about it. And I'm gonna misquote it because I don't understand Star Wars. I can barely tell the difference between Star Wars and Trek. But I don't know. I'm gonna tell the story wrong, but there's some bar scene in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, the Mos Eisley Cantina.
Yeah, some cantina. I knew that much. I knew that word. Where the Triassic is like that place. You walk in there, everyone looks a little funny, and everyone's gonna eat you. Like
that's really good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I should watch that movie to understand it. But
that's the first one too. If you're gonna start anywhere, start there.
Okay, yeah, maybe. the only one I've watched is episode 3. It's so I know how you make. So I know how you make a Darth Vader, and that's it. I bet the chat's going off like, "What's wrong with this guy?" No, I don't care about Star Wars.
No, not yet. People are very charitable. They recognize that, like, you're not a Star Wars scholar. You're a paleontologist.
Yeah, so. and also I was just listening to the football game.
But yeah, here's some really weird Triassic things. There's Tanystropheus, or a close relative. These incredibly bizarre, long-necked guys like that. We're still trying to figure out, did they mostly hang out on land, or were they fully marine? Did they live in the ocean full time? Like, yeah, big old ichthyosaurs. They start off kind of long and like mosasaur shaped.
They really do, kind of short necks, long heads, and very long tails. And by the end of the Triassic, the cool thing about ichthyosaurs, they're whale-sized.
They're enormous.
By the end of the Triassic.
It's crazy, like possibly the largest things that have ever lived. Like, there are bits and pieces of some ichthyosaurs from Europe and from Nevada as well. These suckers are like, approaching like 30 meters.
Yeah, they're and at the very least, we're not necessarily saying they're blue whale size.
Yeah.
But there was an idea. There is a Mosasaur and Mesozoic Marine Conference that we have.
Oh yeah.
And then a few years ago, somewhere in the when we had it in Sweden, whatever year that was, I think it was 2016.
Yeah.
There was somebody who was posing the question like, your big marine macro predators, whether it's mosasaurs, ichthyosaurs, sperm whales, is there a maximum size that they can get?
Is there like a ceiling for?
Yeah, is there a ceiling? And folks were thinking, 60-ish feet, which is roughly what a sperm whale is.
Yeah.
Close to those big ichthyosaurs. Maybe some of them were getting bigger. You kind of wonder. But the largest mosasaur probably 17-ish meters based on estimates that we have, scaling estimates.
So that's what, like 50 feet, something like that?
Between 50, 55 feet, something like that. So maybe closer to 18 meters. But yeah, so and it was funny because it was right after that the first Jurassic World movie came out
with the 200-foot-long mosasaur.
Yeah, and so folks were, there was a talk that was just posing that question based on the fact that there's this massive mosasaur in this movie, which was kind of fun. But yeah, they get big fast.
It's really wild because right after the biggest mass extinction in Earth history, at the end of the Permian, it's like 90% of things on
of species go extinct. Maybe 95, maybe higher. And like within what, like 5-10 million years, you have things that are whale-sized swimming around in the oceans.
Yeah. At the very least, within 5 or 10 million years of the first ichthyosaurs getting in the ocean, they get big. But we've seen that pattern in other marine groups too, reptiles as well as mammals. So things get big fast when they get in a marine.
I guess that's true.
ecosystem.
Yeah. With Perucetus, that new whale came out a couple years ago.
Yeah, I mean even Basilosaurus is over 50 feet long.
Right.
So
that's what, Eocene? That's pretty early on. So yeah. Yeah, so anyway, the Triassic, really cool. Like these things, like Josh was saying, get big really fast. Ichthyosaurs. I'm hoping to take you, chat, on a live stream journey through that new Did I tell you about that? The Ichthyosaurs? Yeah. So cool. But yeah, we also get things like Nothosaurs right there swimming around, which are almost like proto-plesiosaurs with legs, sort of. That's kind of an old idea.
Yeah.
Placodonts, that's not a turtle, that's a placodont right there.
That's something different.
So yeah, just incredibly weird. And
I should say also in the Triassic, maybe a marine reptile, maybe not. Speaking of turtles, one of the oldest turtles that has at least a plastron and a partial carapace, Odontocheles, from Asia. Excuse me. It's called Odontocheles because it has teeth. So it's a very early turtle. It's preserved in at least marginal marine rocks.
Right.
So it kind of did pose the question: did turtles have a marine origin?
Which would be wild
for a little while. Until more recent ideas came out. But we know now that's not the case. But it's possible that turtle either was adapted for a marine environment very early on in turtle evolution, or it just got washed out to sea.
Right.
Which is also a solid possibility.
Yeah. And Claire, I see your question in the chat. We'll talk about mosasaurs when we get to the Cretaceous. So we'll get to that.
Yeah.
That's Josh's specialty. So
yeah, we'll end with that.
So yeah, all kinds of really weird, cool critters throughout the Triassic, and you start to get some of your major groups evolving. This is Shastasaurus right here, which gives you an idea for how big and bulky these ichthyosaurs get. So that is a critter that's roughly like maybe gray whale size, something like that. I don't know.
For sure, yeah. At least
enormous.
Sperm whale size.
Right.
Something
And
like
do you have an opinion on like the things like Ichthyotitan, these things from the UK that are rumored to be like blue whale sized, based on fragments?
Yeah.
There's this. Do you know about this with the? It's like a fragment of a denary.
Yeah, I saw a headline about it. I didn't do a deep dive into it, so
Yeah.
I can claim a little bit of ignorance. But my initial gut reaction would be, show me the evidence.
Yeah.
Because
they are very fragmentary.
Yeah, I mean, but if it's enough to place within a phylogeny, which probably not, then maybe you could get an idea of the ability to scale something up. Scale up, say, a close living relative that's more complete.
Yeah.
That would be the method that I'd go about trying to address. If that's true. The thing is, things get big and can sometimes get a little
proportions.
Yeah, and realistically, even if you have a complete disarticulated skeleton, when we're talking about actual length of the animal, do we know how long the intervertebral discs between each vertebra was?
Right.
And so
that adds up for a critter that's makes a big
for
difference.
sure. When folks ask me, how long was a T-Rex? I don't know. Tell me how long its intervertebral discs were, and then we can go measure some and add them up. But so I don't know. I claim ignorance on that. But yeah, I mean, I'd be skeptical about any large predator that's eating large, say fish, sharks, whatever is swimming around. Smaller ichthyosaurs, squid.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing that it would get to blue whale size.
Yeah.
Unless somebody finds one.
Because that is the question, like, what in the world are they eating? Are they filter feeding like blue whales
at that point? That would be the thing. And that's one big question in Mesozoic marine ecosystems.
Yeah.
Or it has been for a while.
Yeah.
We're starting to learn more.
Yeah.
It's where are the filter feeders?
Yeah.
There's tons of plankton. Something should be filter feeding.
Yeah.
Turns out it's probably mostly bony fish.
Yeah.
But
it's like lead zichthies.
Lead zichthies and large coelacanths in the Cretaceous. So yeah, it's are there ichthyosaurs filter feeding? I wouldn't be shocked, but I want to see one.
Nice, yeah. Well, cool. I guess we'll move into the Jurassic then.
Okay.
There's so many different groups that we've passed up, like thalattosaurs and placodonts and stuff like that. But
Right.
like, what can you really say about them?
Yeah, and also you're starting, especially in the Jurassic. That's a great
Isn't this great?
image. Yeah, that's beautiful artwork. Is there one artist throughout that entire book?
I'm not sure actually. I've seen some Mark Whitten illustrations in here.
Yeah.
I bet you the artistic credits are in the back
Probably
or something like that. But yeah, that is really cool.
But yeah, it kind of shows you. Oh, you've got large ichthyosaurs still. You've got plesiosaurs and marine crocs.
Yeah, yeah. So we've now moved
Jurassic.
from the Triassic into the another mass extinction. So we're now here in the blue, just to give you a visual learner as I try and do this sort of thing.
Yeah. I definitely am. I learned visually and through doing. So
yeah,
I get that.
Yeah. So yeah, ichthyosaurs survive that extinction event. At least some groups do. Not all of them, but like they take a big hit.
Yeah.
The Shastasaurids die out, and then you get ophthalmosaurids and like ichthyosaurines or whatever they call them.
Yeah.
Plesiosaurs start to really take off, and some of them were small, some of them were relatively big, some of them are still being chomped on by ichthyosaurs, probably, like you see right there. And then we get our marine crocs too, which, what do you know about Thalattosuchians? Because I know hardly anything.
Not a whole lot. I every once in a while I'll go to a talk about them at SVP. I know they. I know they exist.
Yeah.
And there's also there's some interesting work going on right now looking at where they fit within the crocodilian family tree.
Okay.
Crocodilomorph family tree. And I've gotten into them a little bit, less about how they're related to other crocs, but a little bit more on their form. Because if you kind of squint your eyes a little bit, there are some that look like some early mosasaurs that I worked
They really
on.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Things like Dacosaurus and stuff like that look kind of like...
Yeah, and it kind of makes you... think about these commonalities between all these different groups when they're first evolving this marine lifestyle, and will kind of help you build a broader picture about the evolutionary dynamics that are driving these patterns through time.
Right.
Ichthyosaurs, plesiosaurs, mosasaurs, whales. They're all going back to this marine.
Right.
And at some stage during their evolution,
they all kind of look the same.
Very similar appearances.
It's weird.
Basically the only ones that are weirdos are turtles. They do their own thing and they just still look like turtles.
Yeah, and also that's something that I'm kind of fascinated by. Almost all of these groups of marine reptiles that we're talking about seem to develop vivipary, like giving birth to live young, including maybe our marine crocs right here too. And we had a question in the chat. What's that weird thing with all the limbs? So that's like a log with crinoids stuck to it?
Yeah, crinoids. Yeah, those are... so there are still crinoids today. I know
sea lilies.
I know way more about crinoids than I do thalattosaurs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally. And my undergrad advisor was an echinoderm.
Oh, nice.
/ 4-am specialist.
Yeah.
But yeah, they look weird. They're called sea lilies, but they're not plants. They're more closely related to... sea urchins, sea stars, this group, part of a group called echinoderms.
Yeah.
Sea cucumbers are part of that group as well. So yeah, they've been around since the Paleozoic, kind of looking the same, and some of them we know during the Mesozoic, because of really well-preserved fossils, were attaching themselves to driftwood.
Yeah.
A lot would have been attaching themselves to the ocean floor. They do that today. But yeah,
so they've got these long stalks like this. I forget some of these terms with all those columnars inside.
The columnals
like
are the individual discs within the stalk. Yeah.
And they've got those arms with those like feathery little appendages that they kind of filter feed with.
Yeah.
So they're cool. Yeah, they're really cool.
They a friend of mine when I was he's my TA when I was an undergrad. My TA for paleo. He studied the preservation, the taphonomy.
Oh,
You've
cool.
probably heard that word a few times.
Yeah.
The preservation of these things. And I learned from him that they often get chomped on before they're able to get fully preserved, because fish like to go after something called the fleshy anal sac. that is basically in between all
Sounds
those
delicious.
feathery arms.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah, get that on the that fleshy anal sac of crinoids.
I think Automod is going to catch that before people can.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And corals are not descended from these. No, like Josh was saying, they're echinoderms, so they're related to sea urchins and stuff like that. I like to explain crinoids as like, imagine that it's like you have a sea urchin that really wants to be an anemone.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah, kind of
Probably
like
not
that.
as predatory as an anemone, but yeah. So they've got all those, tentacle arm things that wave around, and yeah. So anyway, and they're still around today too. Sea lilies they are living crinoids. They're not nearly as common as they used to be. They used to be all over Earth's oceans, and nowadays they're much more rare. But
and there also are some that are called feather stars. That don't have the stalk.
And they just kind of like they move like this through the water.
Yeah, they'll move through the water. Sometimes they'll attach themselves, but
yeah. That's really neat.
My undergrad advisor Ron Lewis went to the Bahamas to start studying feather stars and their preservation, and then realized, wow, working in the Bahamas is pretty great research wise. So what else can I study here? Forams. So little microscopic critters. So yeah,
that's cool. Yeah. Oh, but before we got distracted by the crinoids, I was talking about viviparity. So giving birth to live young in the water. It seems like almost all marine reptile groups do that, including maybe the marine crocs. So I was
that would be really
reading
neat.
that this is an animal related to modern day crocs and alligators and things. Somewhat distantly, but it's still very crocky.
Yeah.
And all of those guys lay eggs today. And all reptiles today, well, not all reptiles lay eggs.
Some snakes and
viviparous and lizards,
lizards.
But just wild that like all of these different groups of marine reptiles seem to develop live birth in the ocean, and that. What kind of advantages would that proffer for a marine organism?
Yeah, you think about advantages. You think about when you're an evolutionary biologist, you also think about selective pressures. If you're living in a marine environment, there are selective pressures to kind of take on those kind of common forms that we see repeated throughout evolutionary history.
Certain designs, body forms just work, so they keep showing up again and again.
We see that kind of repeated throughout Earth history, and that often leads to things having flippers. Things looking like dolphins, or things looking like dolphins, sharks. There's a lot of convergences there, and actually there's a spot in one of these two books that talks about those convergences. That often means that you can't really, your shoulders and your hips kind of get detached from your spine, and that means you can't hold yourself up on land.
Right.
Like that body form really lends itself to only marine locomotion, and that means then there are selective pressures about related to hunting, operating within a marine environment that then preclude you from going on land, thus preclude you from nesting on land,
laying your eggs up on the beach.
So very likely there's that's a pressure that kind of coincides with the evolution of these highly marine forms, where we're not going to be able to walk up on the beach anymore. There's some really great old paleo art that shows these things crawling up on land, but there's no way. Not even mosasaurs.
That's like almost a cliche in old paleo art. It's like, oh, mother plesiosaur coming up onto the beach, and here comes a huge predatory dinosaur, Allosaurus or something, to have his predatory way with her.
Exactly.
You see it all over the place in these older books, and now we know that didn't happen.
Exactly. The ones that we know it happened because it happens today are marine turtles. So
exactly.
Because there are only so many ways to evolve a turtle.
And that's really strange. So turtles are the odd one out. They're like kind of the strangest of marine reptiles in some ways. They still lay eggs after. When did the first marine turtles show up?
Well,
sometime in the Jurassic. Right?
yeah, there are definitely some groups that extend back into the Jurassic.
Yeah.
And multiple groups we know go marine. The for the most part, southern hemisphere. I guess.
Some rain.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! Well, I'm glad we're under the solid tarp.
Yeah,
Don't have to worry about the book. Yeah.
Yeah, we're under the good tarp. But yeah, some of these marine turtle groups definitely go back into the Jurassic, but they're not necessarily related to modern sea turtles, what we would call pancolonioids, because based on those family trees, the phylogenies that we produce for turtles.
Yeah.
Still kind of an interesting open question where some of those weirdo turtle groups go. They might not even be related to either of the two main modern groups, pleurodires or cryptodires. But we are fairly confident they're not related to modern sea turtles, like some of the ones that you get in the Cretaceous. Definitely are.
So I guess turtles are almost a microcosm of marine reptiles in general, where like they've become marine several times.
Exactly.
Different groups of turtles have gone into the ocean independently, done their own thing, lived, and then gone extinct.
Yeah. Whether the modern sea turtles have one marine origin, that's kind of an interesting question.
It is. And that takes us to leatherback turtles, of course.
Yeah, of course.
The dermochelioids, dermochelioids, I guess. Did they have a separate origin? Because the consensus right now generally is that like they are allied with the rest of the sea turtles.
Yep.
All the ones with hard shells. But yeah, that could potentially change in the future with fossil evidence.
Yeah, maybe. The thing is,
that's intriguing.
It is.
You good, Michael?
Hey, are you watching this storm?
Not really.
Okay, it's gonna be close.
It's gonna be close.
Oh, okay. And we'll take a break right here, chat. Hang on a sec.
Yeah. You can keep chatting with them.
But yeah.
I'll figure out the trajectory of the
storm.
please.
Please. I think this is part of what Josh was talking about here.
Oh,
you didn't see that?
Is that coming toward us? Oh, darn. We might be becoming marine ourselves here if we get enough rain. That's gonna
be very close. Let me look up.
Oh boy.
Like the other day.
There's a chance we might have to wrap this up early, chat. We shall see. Because we've got some here, let me show you. Holy cow.
It should be through pretty quickly.
No. Well, looking at my app, it looks nasty. Hold on.
So, look at those clouds there. Normally the storms here come from that direction toward us, but yeah, to the east, those are some big nasty looking clouds, and you can already see some big rain sheets there coming down.
It may go east of us.
We might get hit by that, or it might miss us. We'll see. Darn. Here, let me put this on for a second at least. Gah.
I think the worst.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And we are getting a few sprinkles, Claire. Yes. Yeah. Oh boy.
This one will get wet. I think the worst is going to miss us. But I do, and I also hear thunder. So yeah, go ahead and. Well, first let's gather up all the stuff that can blow away and get messed up by rain, all the paper products and whatnot.
Yeah,
and then
smart.
we'll drop the tarps.
Okay.
We've got a little bit of time to play with. I think we've got half an hour.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah.
I thought I'd bother you before it hit us.
Appreciate it, yeah. Oh, man.
But yeah. So I mean, we got a little bit of time.
Yeah, okay.
We got a little bit of time.
Let's take care of things first, and then we can. Once we've got everything put away, we can get back to talking about marine reptiles.
Yeah, I mean, this is live streaming in the desert during monsoon season.
Unedited, anything can happen. Yeah.
Cool.
Shoot.
That's gonna be the worst one we've been hit with so far.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh.
So don't want these to blow away.
I'm wondering. I'm gonna put all the paper. Well, actually, we'll just drop the tarps on top of these. We can cover them up with picks and whatnot.
There we go.
Awls and
Whoop. Let me set this down.
jackets that blow away.
Yeah, because that wind is going to arrive before the rain, presumably.
It will, and I am not playing around with rain anymore.
Yeah.
Or wind anymore.
So hang on a sec, chat. We're gotta take care of business here. One of the joys of doing field work in the desert.
Oh, great.
Man, you can hear that thunder.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, right now I'm more concerned about thunder. That's starting to get close.
Yeah.
Just basically anything that'll blow away. Let's hunker down. Yeah, we might be hanging out in the trucks for an hour.
Yeah. Fair.
It's thunder related. Boy doesn't play around with safety.
It's like what Jim says. One thing out here that can kill you the quickest.
This is true. And lightning is one of the few things that is my exception to safety third. If it's lightning, it takes priority.
Yeah.
Otherwise, safety third. Have fun. Look good.
All right, to get soaked. There, I will be. Well, let me take you with me, Chad. Well, I can do that with one arm. And we'll come back for my digging tools.
Thanks for letting me know, Michael.
Yeah. Man. So the world just kind of melts away when you're talking marine reptiles.
It does. It's a magical time. So I think we can weigh most of this down with.
All right, I can ditch these sunglasses now too. That's everything's in shadow. These are practical. They're not to look cool,
Starts off, boys.
even though they do look kind of cool, I guess. All right, so pack some of these things up. Got this trusty plastic crate here. That is water resistant, which is a handy thing out here. Got our books inside. There we go. This isn't gonna fit. Okay, it's okay. It's wrapped in plastic.
I'm gonna try to let this down easy.
Thermometer. Humidity's gone up a little bit. 23%. Temperature's only 85 now. It's cooling down as this storm approaches. Gonna get that pressure drop too, I'm sure. Okay. Only 85. Hey, Whitney, is that you right there? How you doing, Whitney? It's good to see you.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. Let's see. I can bring that with me. I can bring that with me. Let's go get my digging tools. Hang on. And then, yeah, so there's a chance we might have to end this stream rather abruptly. I'll still see if I can raid out, because that would be nice. But, yeah.
We got more. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're good? Glad to hear it, Whitney. It's good to see you. This is my second to last day digging out here before I go home. And, we want to throw some rocks over this burlap too to keep it from blowing around.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about that.
Okay.
It'll just get soaked and stay
Yeah.
stay stable. Oh, there's a target.
So we'll carry that over here. Put that in the bag. Prefer not to get it wet. And Paleostream is live right. Oh, thank you, Dr. Sharon. Okay, nice. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Put this over here. Where did my other digging tools go? Ah, darn. Ooh, you hear that rolling thunder? I don't know if you could catch that, chat, but it's there. I'll be right back.
Y'all got any extra picks and shovels over there? Oh, there's
Right. Okay, I feel like we're ahead of the game by a little bit. Good place to be. Anyway, how are you doing, chat? I hope. Yeah.
God damn.
We're well, good. And Wild Luna, thank you for the Prime sub. Hey, I appreciate that. Saw you were new here today. Welcome, welcome to Paleontologizing. I appreciate the support. Believe it or not, I do this full time. This is how I make my living, is doing live streams like this. So, every subscription, Prime sub, gift sub, every bit, it all counts. It all makes a difference. Appreciate all. Thank you.
Another big rock.
Here's this, Michael.
You guys have any extra picks and shovels over there?
No, you're good. I knew.
Can you make if you can make some, that would be great.
Let's bring some rocks
All right.
over there. Let's go, team.
I think it's about time we wrap this up here, chat. So let's see who else is live right now. We can go raid Paleostream, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and we got a raid? No, hang on. No, sorry. We're raiding out. Sorry, Claire. Misunderstood. Let's see here. And actually, we haven't had that many storms. We've been pretty lucky so far, I think, for the most part. So, yeah. Here. Raid. Paleostream. There we go.
I don't think we'll be doing another stream today, but we'll see. Yeah. Thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for your viewership, for your enthusiasm, for your questions. We'll see if we can talk to Josh about mosasaurs another time. He takes off tomorrow afternoon, I think, while I'm going to be streaming. And then I take off Monday morning. So I'll be back in the Bay Area before you know it. Everybody, thank you so much for everything. Mods, thank you especially for all of your support. Wish us luck weathering the storm out here. And let's go see what Paleostream is up to. All right, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.